I'm here today with Melody Choplin, who is the owner and operator of Carolina Wind and Brass Repair and is currently the president of the National Association of Band Instrument Repair Technicians. That's a mouthful. So Melody, what exactly do you do?
Well, in a nutshell, I fix band instruments.
Okay, so band instruments. So you're talking flutes and trombones, saxophones, trumpets,
Yes.
not
woodwinds-
pianos and guitars.
No, they're just woodwinds and brass winds. So flutes, oboes, clarinets, saxophones. And for brasses, trumpets, trombones, euphoniums, French horns, tubas.
Where do you work? Where are we right now?
I work right here. I have my own shop. It is Carolina Wind and Brass Repair. I've had this shop open for about 13 years, and prior to that I worked at other various locations.
Okay, so you've been a tech for 30 years, you said?
Yes, I've been a tech for 30 years.
All right. So where else, what other locations can a tech work in? You've got like home shops like this, you work out of your home. What other places can a technician work?
You can work in music stores that have repair shops. You can work as an independent contractor within a music store. So it's almost like having a business within a business. You can work in an instrument warehouse that has a shop associated with it. You can actually work in manufacturing. You know, you can sometimes work in manufacturing with this. You can work at some school systems, public school systems that have a private repair shop or repair service to take care of that county's bands, all the student musicians within that band. You can even work for some colleges and universities that have a repair shop devoted to a school of music or to their band programs.
What is your favorite part of the shop? Any kind of, what's your favorite part of doing this job?
I'm not sure that I have a favorite part of doing this job, but I can tell you that my favorite part of any job is the result that I see after I've finished a job. If I'm doing a crack repair on a clarinet or an oboe, seeing the results of that polished wood where it's clean, it's neat, it's pretty, it looks nice. When I do a lead pipe replacement or fix a bell on a trumpet or a trombone, having the solder clean, neat, having the lead pipe stress-free so everything rings the way it's supposed to. You get better resonance from it. I like that there's always something to learn. There's always something to learn. It's not a mundane, it's not a boring job. There's something new, something challenging, something that you have to get creative about. You have to think of different solutions.
Lots of problem solving.
Lots of problem solving sometimes.
You're not coming in doing the same thing every day. It's different challenges.
Yes.
You mentioned working with your hands. I imagine lots of cuts and scrapes and burns, right?
There can be. There can be.
So you work with lots of different and dangerous tools sometimes.
The tooling can be very dangerous, yes. Screwdrivers can slip and they can cut. I do work with razor blades. I do work with torches, because we do have to solder things together. I do work with torches. I do work with some larger industrial pieces of equipment, such as a machining lathe or a drill press or a bench motor. Grinders, buffers, larger pieces like that, sanders, belt sanders. And any of these pieces of equipment can hurt you if you use them improperly or don't follow safety rules, such as wearing safety glasses or wearing gloves, or if I work with chemicals, making sure that I have chemical gloves on.
So, should you take your instrument to the technician only when it's broken?
There are two kinds of repair. You have periodic repair and episodic repair. Periodic repair is like maintenance. You go to the doctor to have a physical. For your instrument, you bring it in, you have it cleaned, look at pads, prevent leaks, that sort of thing, and try to prevent problems before they happen. With episodic repair, that is something that happens to you repair something that happened to the instrument, such as you dropped it or there was a trauma to it. In the case of with the doctor, if you get sick or if you get injured something like that, and you have to go to the doctor for those reasons. So episodic repair for an instrument means, again, you dropped it, or a pad fell out, a cork tore, or something along those lines.
So we've talked about all this stuff, what you get to do all day. You get to work with your hands, get to solve problems, get to work with all these cool tools. What does it take to get this job? What do you have to do to become a technician?
In my opinion, the best way to become a technician is to go to school. And there are some technical schools that are around the country, not many of them, but and they train you as a technician when you come out of the school. There are some 9-month programs, and there's 2-year program for an associate degree, but these are from trade schools, community college or technical colleges.
That gets you ready to go into a shop and work for someone else with the experience.
That's right. That gives you a lot of the basic training on how to use the tools and some basic repairs, and gets you started. The bulk of your learning is going to come when you're in the field working with master technicians and really just getting your hands dirty.
All right. So as a technician, is that like your whole deal, or do you still get to make music?
Oh, I still get to play. I'm still a performing and working musician, which is a wonderful thing.
Does being a musician help you become a better technician?
I think it does. For me, it helps to know what is expected of the instrument, what a professional is looking for, what kind of setup that they need, what kind of sound they need, what kind of repair is needed. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Melody. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope that this has shed some light on one of the many jobs in music. I want to ask, what is your wildest repair story or the wildest thing you've seen in an instrument that you can share with us today?
Oh, there's lots of them. There's lots of them. I think the one that sticks out in my mind right now is the young man who, when I was working at a university, the young man who brought a baritone saxophone that he had bought from Craigslist. And he brought it into the shop because we're thinking we had a lot of work to do on it. This was going to be a major, major project. And he was saying it played stuffy. It was playing really, really stuffy. So we tried to put a leak light on the inside of it to see what was going on and check the pads. And we couldn't get the light inside. So we started pulling objects out of the instrument because it was playing stuffy. There was something stuck in it. So we pulled out a can holder, a can drink holder, cozy. We pulled out a box of Q-tips. I think we pulled out a mouthpiece or a mouthpiece cap. I think it was the cap. We pulled out a reed holder. We pulled out a petrified cube of cork grease. I think that was in there too. So yeah, and after all of that was cleared out, the instrument played very, very freely.
The joke here is Melody has chosen her story to be an instrument that I brought in. That was my saxophone that I got off Craigslist that about everything in the world fell out of.